doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought me some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. Prodigy Bowlers Tour welcomes you to episode 135, the 2022 Kansas City Open December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament, Division 4 Championship Round. Today, 4 doubles teams will meet in a series of handicap matches where the winning team will keep advancing as long as they keep winning. Our number 4 qualifiers are Luke Gramling and his aunt, Nicole Orlando. They're poised and ready to take on our number 3 qualifiers, Bailey Coleman and Charles Teeter, in our opening match. Then whoever can get past that match will advance to face our number 2 qualifiers, Joe Anderson and his grandfather, Michael Anderson. And the winner of that second match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leaders, Jacob Thompson and his mom, Leanne Thompson. One of these 4 doubles teams will sign the coveted trophy pin today at the KCO Youth Adult Doubles Tournament on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. As the crow flies, it's about 15 miles from Kansas City's Country Club Plaza, where the Christmas lights get turned on every year on Thanksgiving and send a beacon of good cheer throughout the area each holiday season. Season's greetings to everyone in Prodigy Land from Olathe, Kansas, a southwestern suburb of the Kansas City metro area, where we've returned to Olathe Lanes East. Full disclosure, this is the house where I am privileged to coach on Saturday mornings in the phenomenal youth leagues run by the center's tireless youth director, Susan Lowe. Twice a year, the Kansas City Open invites grown-ups to get in on the fun, partnering with a youth bowler. This is the first of 2 doubles tournaments on the KCO's calendar this season, the other coming in mid-March, the only month where the KCO holds 2 tournaments, which gives the kids who bowl high school bowling in Kansas a little added incentive to get back into the routine of bowling the KCO, since Kansas doesn't allow high school bowlers to compete in tournaments during the high school bowling season. But that won't affect us this month. The format for the KCO Youth Adult Doubles Tournament is simple. Both the youth and adults bowl 5 games of qualifying, skipping a pair of lanes after each game. The A squad bowls in the morning, the B squad bowls in the afternoon. Players bowl all 5 of their qualifying games in one block. Total pins between the 2 players, plus any handicap pins they receive, determines their team score. Then the field is cut to the top 4 pairings for the stepladder finals in all 5 divisions. The divisions work pretty much the same in the youth adult doubles event as it does in the points tournaments, except that while the Division 1 youth bowlers are bowling scratch as usual, the adults get handicap in all 5 divisions. The adult handicap is 90% of the difference between their average and 220. While the youth are handicapped off of the top end of their division. So here in Division 4, which is comprised of youth bowlers averaging 140 to 159, their handicap is 90% of the difference between their average and 159. Here in the stepladder finals, the adults and their youth partner will each bowl a full game, and the total of their 2 scores plus handicap pins will be their total. We'll bowl league style with the 2 partners starting on the same lane and switching lanes each frame. The adults will lead off, putting the kids in the anchor position on each team. So, with that out of the way, I believe we're set to go with our opening match. Our 4 seeds, Luke Gramling and Nicole Orlando, will face our 3 seeds, Bailey Coleman and Charles Teeter. Charles is actually Luke's father, but he's bowling as Bailey's partner because Bailey's usual partner couldn't go today because of an injury. But all four of these folks are friends on the lanes and off the lanes. So they had a little shuffling of partners to make sure everybody could compete. Bailey and Charles, being the higher qualifiers, have the choice of starting lanes, and they have elected to start on the left lane. So looks like Nicole is going to throw the first shot for Nicole and Luke. And here we go. And Nicole buries it in the pocket for a strike to get things started. And now Charles. Oh, yikes. He can't believe that. I can't believe that. As much ball as he throws. And Luke pastes the pocket, and both he and Nicole start with a strike. Charles goes all out for the 8-10. That is a highly unusual spare to see somebody with his rev rate leave. But I talked to one of the youth bowlers, two-hander. He said he left 3 8-10s during his qualifying. So, something weird there, if you ask me. All right, Bailey Coleman. Bailey finds the pocket, but the 7 won't go. Both of our youth competitors in this match, Bailey and Luke, are 13 years of age. I should tell you that the action to our left on lanes 5 and 6, that's Division 3, and to our right on lanes 9 and 10, that's Division 5. We'll recap how their stepladder plays out at the end of the show today. Easy peasy, takes care of the 7-pin. And now the grown-ups will switch lanes and bowl their second frame. As we mentioned in the setup, we're bowling league style, which means we'll have continuous action throughout the day here, which will leave precious little time for replays and coachable moments, but we'll try to sneak in a few. And Nicole rips the 5. Just a pinch high that time. Charles leaves the solid 4. For a right-hander, the 4 and the 10 are the 2 single pin spares you'll see most often. It'd be the 6 and 7 for a lefty. And Luke crosses over, leaves the 6. Well, a tense moment there for Charles, but the 4 goes. And now Luke will go for the 6. And he takes care of it. Well, you see that we've added each player's handicap into their score in the very first frame. That way you don't have to do any math to make sense of it all. And the number at the bottom of your screen right now, plus 45 with the arrow pointing right. That means that the team over on the right side of the score sheet is leading by 45. All she does is strike. Nicole with a turkey out of the gate, and you see how we've added her 11 pins handicap into the 30 that she would have for 3 strikes to start, 41 in the first. Charles coming in just a little light. breaks down the 2-4-5, leaves a more makeable 2-4. Luke catches a Brooklyn. Earlier in qualifying, he bowled his first ever 200 game, and then later he bowled another one. So he's already had quite a day. And an easy spare for Charles. Charles has an 826 to his credit. So this guy can bowl. Carries a league average of 220 and hence his 0 handicap. The adults handicapped off of 220. And that means that Charles doesn't get any pins. There's a solid strike for Bailey and a double that'll cut into Nicole and Luke's lead a little. Let's look at Bailey's unusual footwork. Look how she crosses over with the left foot in front of the right, then steps off to the right. And the rest of the way, she walks straight up the boards. Nice release right up the back of the ball. But when we talk about the crossover step, for a right-hander, we usually talk about the right foot crossing over in front of the left foot. She's doing it backwards. A week 10 for Charles. And Nicole with another strike. All she does is strike. Amazing. Well, getting back to Bailey's footwork, when we talk of the crossover step, we like to see the right step in front of the left. The reason why is because you don't want a right-hander to be walking to the right. That walks into the swing plane, which only causes problems. You watch the pros, and they will all have a crossover step to the left. They actually drift a little to the left, out of the way of the swing plane. But Bailey makes it work. She's had good results in the KCO. Finds the pocket with that one. Leaves a 10. Now Luke is waiting for a re-rack here. The pin setter cycled unexpectedly and set a single pin. So here we go. Well, that ball hooks a little high, and he's got another 6-pin to shoot at. Got a hook, and it does. And Bailey, boy, I thought that one was headed for the moat, but Bailey covers the 10-pin. Nicely done. And a good spare for Luke. So both of our youth bowlers clean through the first 4 frames. Now Nicole, who has a 772 to her credit. This time she crosses over and leaves the 6-pin. There you go. Charles catches a light shaker and the wall shot takes out the 4-5-7. That's more like the kind of pin action he's looking for. Easy spare. Boy, there is a lot to like about Nicole's game. She is in balance with every shot. Steady head through the release. One of the most important things I look for with a player. All right, Bailey. You see that little drift to the right in her first couple of steps. Oh my. The 4-6. And Luke crosses over, leaves the 9. That could have been most anything. Sometimes when I watch him bowl, it looks to me like the ball might be a little heavy for him. Not sure what weight he's throwing. Sometimes it just looks like it's slipping off his hand. You see that? Could be a fit issue. Not sure. Oh, man, an aggressive play for the 4-6. It is really hard to make that one sliding it across. You really have to hit it so thin you're more likely to run by it, but she gets 9 out and makes it interesting. But Nicole and Luke with a 59-pin advantage. Thanks in large measure to that 4-bagger that Nicole put up out of the gate. Oh, man. The Greek church. Nicole sends that one a little wide and leaves the 1-2. Well, on the Greek church, in a situation like this, you'd probably go for the 3, I would think. Ooh. Well, that was close to being very interesting. And man, he can really rocket it down there when he needs to, can't he? If he caught that a little bit thinner, we might have had something to talk about here. Easy cover of the 1-2. Bailey comes up just a little high and leaves the 4-7, an easy spare for a right-hander. And Luke hits flush in the pocket, and there's nothing those pins can do in that situation but go down. Look out. Well, Bailey hooks by the 4-7. Here, let's take another look at that strike that Luke threw just a few seconds ago. You'll see his hand is kind of on the side of the ball, sort of suitcasing it, as I used to call it when I was that age. But it goes dead straight and high flush, 10 back. A light hit that time for Nicole, and now she's got a tricky spare, the bucket. And that's right in the hole. Charles with a solid strike in the 7th, and he's going to need a bunch more to try to carry himself and Bailey across the finish line and make this a match. Ooh. Nearly chopped the 2 off the 5, but all 4 pins go. So that's a spare for Nicole. And she's clean through 7 frames. Now Luke gets around that one a little bit, and the 1, 3, 8, 10, a very difficult spare. Well, that could have been worse. She had the 6, 7, 10 looking at her, but breaks it down and just has the single pin. Now Luke with a 1, 3, 8, 10. I like to see him shoot this from the left side of the lane, try to hit the left side of the head pin. But he is well wide with that one and leaves one. Still, the team with a 67 pin lead. So he could afford to give a few pins away there. Bailey's been good with her right side spares. Got to hand it to her there. I love her technique. And you notice that when she's shooting spares, she doesn't drift. I'm surprised, but when she shoots cross lane at those right side spares, she doesn't drift at all. She walks straight up the boards. Crossover. Charles will take that double. Thank you very much. Bank that one, baby. There's another solid strike by Nicole. And she's just not letting the other team get much air at all. Crossover, the 9 just won't go for Bailey. And another one right in the pocket for Luke. He just doesn't have the rev rate to carry those half pocket hits. So the 10 remains. As he gets bigger, he'll be able to keep his hand more behind the ball, keep his fingers under the equator of the ball, and he'll get more revs. But another solid spare for Bailey. Problem is, they need strikes. Trailing by 58.
Billy, back out of 6.
Look at Luke handle these cross lane spares like a boss. All right. Nicole would like to put another strike up right now just in case Charles is getting any ideas. But she goes high through the nose, leaves the 3. Charles needs another strike here. And he gets one. Well, both Charles and Nicole have 300 games on their resumes. So we know they're capable of throwing some solid shots. Routine spare. Well, Charles and Bailey are running out of frames now. There's a good strike by Bailey. And that Brooklyn gives him 9 and a wiggle, but that's all you're going to get, young man. Here's that strike that Bailey threw a moment ago. About 7 at the arrows. Half pocket, and she rips the 5. Love it. And Luke takes care of the 9, no problem. A 47-pin lead for Nicole and Luke heading into the 10th frame. Oh, and she collapses the 4-9. Ooh, man, that could have been disastrous. Something to open the door if Charles could punch out here in the 10th. Oh, man. That is not what he wanted. The big 4, the 4, 6, 7, 10. You see him shaking his head. He knows how to add. And that 9 count will seal the deal. As hard as Charles could throw it at the big 4, it wasn't going to be enough. Nicole's 9 count there in the 11th frame puts her and Luke over the top, and they have won this opening match. And that gutter ball is not going to affect the outcome one iota. Bailey with a solid strike. There's a double. That's what she's been looking for all game long. Here's another look at it. Right up about 7 or 8 at the arrows. A little down and in shot. Tilts the 10 out. And that ball looked like it slipped off of Luke's hand a little bit. He leaves the 5. Here's a crossover strike for Bailey. She wants to be a musician when she grows up. I'll have to ask her what instrument she plays, or instruments. As Luke's ball slides by the 5-pin, it's not going to matter. Bailey finishes with a 9 count. That'll give her 206. But it's the 412 to 379 total that matters. Luke Gramling and Nicole Orlando have advanced. They will face Joe and Michael Anderson next. Here's how the qualifying round shook out. We almost had a pair of twins make the show today. That would have been a Prodigy first. Hadley and Annalise Keeler were both inside the top 4 after the A squad bowled this morning, but got knocked out by Bailey and Luke, who both bowled in the B squad this afternoon. In 8th place, you see Jade Fleming and her partner. Jade was on our Division 5 show back in September. In a tie for 9th, Brady Walworth is the brother of Aiden Walworth. You saw him in the periphery back in June on our Division 1 show strike out in the 10th to force a roll-off in the championship match, which he went on to win. And in 15th place, there's Cortland Worrell. You met him last month. He was bowling on the adjacent pair of lanes on our November Division 2 show when he won 3 matches to take the title in Division 5. He found the going a little rougher in Division 4 today, but that young fellow will just keep getting better as he gets bigger. I see several names here that are starting to look familiar to me, having been covering the KCO for a few months now, so I imagine you'll get to know some of these kids in the coming months. But in our opening match, Luke Gramling's aunt Nicole just took control of the match and put Luke on her back and carried him. Meanwhile, Bailey Coleman bowled a very solid game, but unfortunately her partner picked the wrong time to have a tough game. Still, he strung some strikes at the end to finish strong. It was just too little too late. So our 4 seeds take the first step up the stepladder and now face the 2 seeds, little Joe Anderson and his grandfather, Michael Anderson. Back in June of this year, on our very first episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, originating from the Kansas City area, you met this guy, Michael Anderson II. He was seeded second at the KCO Invitational, the big season-ending event on the KCO calendar. Michael would go on to win the KCO Invitational in Division 1 that day. Check it out, episode 128. Well, he told us that day that the person who got him started bowling was his grandfather, Michael Anderson I, who finds himself in that same 2 seed along with Michael II's little brother, Joe. We've had brothers bowl on Prodigy before. We've had fathers bowl with their kids. But until now, we've never had a young player and his grandfather compete on the show. So no matter how this plays out, it'll be a Prodigy first. With a grandfather-grandson pairing and an aunt and nephew pairing, my 30-some-odd years as a top 40 radio disc jockey instincts are telling me to cue up Sly and the Family Stone, It's a Family Affair, and play that, but I know YouTube would flag it for copyright violation, so I'll resist. Anyway, we're set to go. And Nicole goes through the nose this time and leaves a 3-6. And Michael is here to show us how it's done. He has 8 300 games to his credit. And here's how you do that. Real simple game. Very easy to repeat. And that would have knocked over tree trunks. There's a solid spare by Nicole. as Joe wastes no time. And the light shaker doesn't quite go. The 4 will not fall, much to his dismay. And now Luke. And Luke goes through the nose as well and leaves the 3-pin. He bowls just like his older brother Michael II, doesn't he? There's also an older sister, Genevieve, who bowls. She's pretty good too. And Luke covers the 3. So everybody is started with a mark. And Nicole back where she spent most of the first match, in the pocket, and buries them. Here, let's take a look at her game. 4-step approach. She slides about 3 feet short of the foul line. She's not going to foul that way. Oh boy. And Michael not happy with that one. Understandable. The 4, 6, 7. Not much you can do with that other than just take the count. Luke's pulled that one and leaves the tricky 3-9. Mike will go for the 2 on the left. Take the count and go sit down. Once again, we added the handicap pins into each player's score as they come up in the first frame. And Luke covers the 3-9. Nice shot. Little pull by Joe, but he gets away with it, catches a Brooklyn, he makes a face at it. He knows he got away with one. But you see how we've added his 11 pins handicap into his score. A spare strike beginning would give him 20 in the first, plus 11 makes 31. And that's how we roll in these handicap matches. Now Nicole trying to double. Oh! A stone 7. Ouch. But I would think she would have no problem with this. Another solid shot for Michael on the left lane. And Nicole with an unforced error and an unexpected open on an easy spare. And now Joe is set to go. But something disturbs him. And we have our first balk of the day. So Luke will go. Gave that one a little extra lift at the bottom, and it goes through the nose. Well, Joe pulled that one in the oil, and it never really found friction until too late. And a wall shot almost got them all. There's a spare for Luke. Well, Joe will have to contend with the 7-pin. The same spare that Nicole missed a moment ago. But Joe shows him how it's done. So, a tight match. Nicole and Luke leading by just 4 pins. just a little bit high, or that probably would have gone, but a 4-pin remains for Nicole as Michael tries to figure out this right lane. Oh no! The pocket 7-10. Well, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. There's an easy conversion of the 4-pin. And now Mike will just go for one and hope for a miracle. Well, it does bounce around a little bit back there, but that's another open frame. Oh, look at that one. Luke rips the rack. Oh my goodness, Joe sent that one way out to the right into the friction. We're bowling on the house shot, and it just rolled out and didn't have any energy left when it got to the pins. And now, to make matters worse, the pin setter has cycled and swept away his spare, the 5-7. So they got to call it to the back and get him to reset it. But here's that strike that Luke threw just a moment ago. It's going to come in that half pocket. And look at the 5, and I don't know what got the 7, maybe the 8. But whatever it is, it's 10 in the pit. As we see Kansas City Open chairman Lee Miller, who is serving as our official on this pair of lanes today, conversing with the folks at the counter. And now we've got to fix the scoring. Apparently there is something wrong with the scoring, so we will just appeal to you to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and give us a like on the video. While you're at it, leave a comment down below. All of that helps us grow the channel. And at the time we're producing this show, we are sitting just oh so close to crossing the 20,000 subscribers threshold. Who knows, maybe you'll be the one that puts us over the top. Joe goes boldly for the 5-7, but that's a little wide of where it needed to be. So 8 out and an open. And that will grow Nicole and Luke's lead to 30 pins. Once again, just a little bit high for Nicole. Leaves the 4. It looks like Michael is wired on the left lane. He struck every time. And he turns to Nicole and asks, can I bowl the rest of the match on this left lane? I think we've all been there a time or two. All right, Joe is going to go here on the left lane. He sends that one wide, and it doesn't turn at all, as Nicole takes care of the 4-pin. So Joe with a tricky leave here, the 1-2-4. He bowled his high game of his life earlier today in qualifying, a 226. And he makes a slight adjustment with his feet without even looking down at his feet to see where he was standing. But it all works out. And Luke, that one really did look like it slipped off his hand. And he turns to tell somebody about it. His mom and dad are both sitting back there. Of course, he just defeated his dad and Bailey in the last match. Obviously, to make this, you want to throw it just like you would at a strike. Put it right in the 1-3 pocket. How about it? That's the way you do it. And since he was working on a strike that frame, he didn't lose any count. That was as good as 9 spare. And there's another strike by Nicole as she is trying to get lined up again like she was in that first match. She's been close this match. And Michael finds the pocket on the right once again, but just can't get them all to go. You see him gesturing as if to say, I don't know what to do about this right lane. All right, Luke. And that Brooklyn actually spreads the 5-9 apart a bit. That could make this more choppable. Michael goes for his spare ball and takes care of the 10-pin. Luke's got to be careful with this one. Well, that's not going to get it done. So 8 out, and that will tighten the match to 15 pins. Joe turned around before that ball even got 45 feet down the lane. He knew he didn't throw it quite the way he wanted. And now he's going to get another chance to show us how to make the 5-7. You just move your feet about 3 boards left of your strike position. Throw your strike ball right over your strike target. And that was closer, but just too much of the 5-pin. So another open by Joe. And we've got a 17-pin match. And once again, Michael continues his mastery of the left lane. And here's his footwork. Starts way at the back of the approach. Pretty simple down and in shot. He's never going to get himself in too much trouble like that. Nicole just keeps crowding the head pin a little bit. And that was a better shot by Joe, but just didn't quite hit flush, and now he's got to shoot the 10-pin. But first, Nicole is going to go at the 4-7. And she gets it. And Joe hooks past the 10-pin, so that's another open frame. And that will grow Nicole and Luke's lead to 28 pins as it's getting late. And Luke, crossing over, gets a reverse blower. What is a reverse blower, you ask? Well, let me show you. This ball is barely going to catch the head pin on the left and sends everything over toward the 10-pin. And that's a strike, scorekeeper. Mark it down. Nicole crosses over, leaves the 5. And what would Michael give for a strike on the right lane right here? Nearly left another split. He kept leaving 10 pins. He left that pocket 7-10 on the right. I think he moved 1 board to the right, and it just went high. Easy spare for Nicole. She's been around the pocket all game. Michael covers the 6. Still anybody's match, 27 pins. With two-person teams, that's nothing. That can go quickly. See how that ball looks like it slips off of Luke's hand sometimes, like it's either too heavy or not drilled properly? Joe crosses over, leaves the 5. Got a hook. Not gonna. So there's an open frame, and that tightens the match. Joe needs to cover this to stay in it. So we've got a 16-pin match now, heading into the 9th and 10th, with Michael up on his good lane. He has yet to miss on this left lane. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as I say that, up pops the 10-pin. And Nicole breaks down the split after she puts one right on the beak. Leaves just the 3-6. Michael's been solid on these. And he is once again. Not only does he have 8 300 games, but Michael also has a pair of 800s. So he knows his way around a bowling alley, I'd say. As does Nicole, obviously. Look at Joe rip the rack like we were watching his older brother, Michael II. Brooklyn leaves just one. With just 15 pins separating these two teams, every mark is meaningful. And this is about the easiest spare you can have. And Luke covers the 5 as we head to the 10th frame. Nicole shreds the rack with her first ball on the 10th. Now can Michael unlock the mystery of this right lane? Oh man, that little extra roll of that pin spread the 6-pin to the right, and now the 3-6 is a lot more choppable. They're sitting farther apart. Nicole pounding the pocket with a double. And that's going to put her in the 2-0s. Michael's got to make this. Oh! If that 6-pin had stayed on spot, I think he would have made that spare. But that opens up a 38-pin lead, and Joe Anderson, you've got a strike up in the 9th. You need to take advantage of it. Three strikes in the 10th by Nicole. And Joe needed that strike. It's not going to happen. And that puts Nicole and Luke in the winner's circle this match. And Luke gets a strike. It's not how, it's how many. That open by Joe doesn't really matter now. He'd like to have a couple of those earlier opens back that he had, but it's Nicole and Luke who have won 2 matches now and are going to move on. And Luke gets another one. Watch this, a strike in slow motion. This would have been in slow motion at regular speed. We're showing it to you in slow motion as well. Watch the 5-pin. I don't know what hit it, but it got the 4 and then something got the 7. And he finishes with a 7 count, but that is going to be a 193. That gives them 398, which is plenty good enough to defeat the 331 by Michael and Joe. So Luke and Nicole will meet the Thompsons next. Well, the final score of 398 to 331 is a little misleading, as the Andersons kept this match close most of the way. It wasn't until the 10th frame, when Nicole and Luke threw 5 out of 6 possible strikes, that the final score looked more lopsided than it really was. Michael just couldn't unlock the mystery of the right lane, and Joe let a couple of spares get away. Otherwise, this match could have come down to the very end. But as it is, Luke and his aunt are sitting pretty, heading to the championship match, where their task this time could be a little more daunting. They'll be giving up an avalanche of handicap pins to the Thompsons. Jacob is only getting 1 pin, but his mom, Leanne, is getting 80 pins. So Luke and Nicole are going to be starting the match from way behind. In effect, they'll be spotting their opponents 54 pins in handicap differential. But as I always tell those who whine about giving handicap pins, you don't have to overcome them all in 1 frame. You've got 10 frames to chip away. And if you're getting pins, then just close your frames and protect your lead. Here you see Leanne Thompson, the mother of Jacob Thompson. Looks like she's going to throw the first ball, but first, well, each contestant who's coming on gets to throw 2 practice balls on each lane, and those practice balls show up in the scoring above, so you are looking at the back of KCO Chairman Lee Miller as he removes those scores from the scoring system so we can start with a clean slate. But as I was about to say, Leanne Thompson, who you got a glimpse of a moment ago, this is her first KCO youth adult tournament that she has bowled in. And I'm sure she wants to do her best. For her son, she's a 131 average. So she is getting a whopping 80 pins of handicap. Well, her opening toss goes high flush, but she leaves a stone 7. 5 pin. And Nicole looks back at Luke's mom as if to say, I can't believe I left that. Thought I threw it better than that. Looked like a good shot to me. But either way, both players start with 9 counts and leave an easy spare. Oh, but Leanne lets that one get away. And Nicole makes short work of the 5 pin, so they begin to chip away at that big handicap differential. Now we get our first look at Jacob Thompson. Jacob has had an interesting story this season at the KCO. As he crosses over and leaves the 6 with his first effort. Luke slides by the pocket, leaves the washout to start. In the first KCO this season, back in September, Jacob finished 27th, dead last in the standings in Division 4. And the very next month, he finished 3rd, made the stepladder and finished 3rd at Gladstone. In November, he finished 18th, and here he is with his mom as the tournament leader in December. Oh! Luke wraps the head pin around the 10, nearly had the washout, but not to be. And once again, as we've said each match, you see how we add the player's handicap into their score in the very first frame. We do that so you don't have to keep track of the handicap and adding it up. It just shows up in the score. And then that number at the very bottom of your screen, plus 55, with the arrow pointing right, that indicates that the team shown on the right of our score sheet is leading by 55. And there's a spare for Nicole. Well, if Leanne can cover her spares this match, they're going to be tough to beat. Hook. That's all right, Leanne. My bowling ball never listened to me either. Oh, look out. Well, that one did slip off of Luke's hand. I would think he would need to get the grip on his ball looked at, and I'm still not convinced that it's not a little too heavy for him. But that could be a fitting issue. I think it's remarkable that he's bowled as well as he has today. Oh! 4-6-7. Well, Luke gets him to crumble down to a 9 count, and that's not as bad as it could have been. He didn't lose any pins in count on that gutter ball because he wasn't working on a spare or a double. It's just an open frame. But the Thompsons maintain a 52-pin lead. And that's going to shrink a little bit after that open frame. It's now 40. Most important thing you got to do when you're a low average player is just make as many spares as you can. And when you can throw strikes like Nicole has shown us all day long, you got to throw a lot of them when you're giving up 81 pins in handicap. There's a crossover that nearly got them all. And Leanne will have a pretty easy spare in the 5-pin. And now Luke's got to just shake off what happened in the second frame and just get right back on the horse and ride. All right. I don't know how he got 9 out of that, but he did. Leaves just the 3-pin. He can handle that one. And Leanne can breathe a sigh of relief now as she gets her first mark, as Luke leaves the 3-pin and whiffs it. So he's still looking for his first mark. And now Jacob up on the right lane. And he gets his first strike and the first strike for their team in this match. Jacob bowls at Aaron's Family Fun Center in Belton, Missouri, where we'll be for the second youth adult tournament on the KCO calendar this season. Nicole is an accountant and says that her favorite pro bowler is Walter Ray Williams. That's a pretty good one. You see her gesturing with her left arm, indicating that's going left. It did, but it's still a strike. And that double cuts into the Thompsons' lead, shaving it to just 41 pins. Leanne Thompson up on the left lane. She is a stay-at-home mom and says her best moment in bowling is bowling with her children. Tell you what, if she'll throw enough of those today, her favorite moment in bowling might be winning with Jacob. Over about 7 at the arrow. She's pointing it left, crosses 10 at the break point, and boom, down they go. And boom, down they go for Luke as well. He stuffs them straight back. Oh, Luke almost gets a jersey squasher, but the 10 stubbornly refuses to go. I think he moved it about an inch. But now he'll need to go cross lane at this to try to maintain their lead. Oh, man, that was close. But the lead shrinks to 29. And now I imagine it starts to get to be nervous time. And Leanne leaves a tricky one, the 1-3-8-10. We saw this once earlier today. Nicole pastes the pocket. And now that's a turkey that cuts the lead to 19. Here's her footwork. It's a 4-step approach, very simple. And like we noted earlier, she slides about 2 or 3 feet behind the foul line. That one was over 11 at the arrows and at the tracers. A simple down and in shot, not much to go wrong. Well, Leanne leaves a couple on that difficult spare. And now just 5 pins separates these two teams. Luke puts one in the pocket to try to put a double on the board, but the 10 pin remains. Oh, Jacob put a pretty nice roll on that one, but it just kind of jumped at the end, goes high, and he leaves the 6-10. Luke, cross lane at the 10, covers it, no problem. And he high-fives Nicole on the way to his seat. All right, Jacob gets his spare. But this match has really tightened. Just a 5-pin differential between the two teams. We are halfway through the match. And the Thompsons' handicap edge is all but gone. They're going to have to earn this on their own. Well, we've seen that happen a couple of times today. Another stone 7. And Leanne crosses over and gets a strike. We'll take another look at it. The ball's going to end up on the left side of the head pin. And I can think of a lot of left-handers who would be real proud of that shot. But I'll tell you what, Leanne will take it. Nicole gets her spare. A reminder once again, the action to our left on lanes 5 and 6, that's Division 3. And on our right, on lanes 9 and 10, that's Division 5. We will recap how their stepladders played out at the end of the show. Oh, man, that looked good for a long time. But the 6, 7, 10... He's had a couple of those lazy strikes today, but this time the 8 won't go. Jacob gets the 6 and 10, doesn't convert the split, and the lead passes to Nicole and Luke. They lead by 7. Oh, no! Luke runs past the 8-pin, an easy spare, and that hands the lead right back to Leanne and Jacob. So they're back on top by 4. And this is exactly what you want to see in a handicap match, where the lead will go back and forth, and you don't know who's going to win until the very end. There's a strike by Nicole. She has really showed us today that she can roll the rock, huh? How about a double? Leanne stepping up. Oh, look out. That one almost got away into the moat. And again, it just looked like it slipped off Luke's hand. Ooh. Jacob kind of held on to that one a little long. When you see that happen, you got to assume they're grabbing it with their thumb, pinching the ball. You got to keep that thumb relaxed. Luke covers the 1-2. Jacob needs to make this. And he does. So the Thompsons maintain a 14-pin lead. Getting down to crunch time. Can she get another one? Oh no! Right through the heart, and she's got the big 4. Man. Just as Nicole looks like she's warming up again. That's 5 strikes in the last 6 frames. We have an even match. That's going to change, I'm afraid, after Leanne shoots at this virtually impossible split. I've only seen it made 3 times in my life. An open frame, and that hands the lead to Nicole and Luke. But Luke now, once again, with this 1-3-8 combination. We've seen this with the 10-pin a couple of times today. Nobody's made it yet. It's a tough one. Oh, there you go. Jacob pastes the pocket, and they all go down. Oh, Luke just runs by the head pin, so that's another open frame, and the lead passes back to the Thompsons once again. Back and forth, back and forth. Who's going to take the bull by the horns here at the end? Might be Nicole. She has suddenly caught fire with 6 strikes in the last 7 frames. And that one gives her team the lead by 9. Got to get up. 3 count. Well, she's not on a spare, so she doesn't lose any count. And now she's got to make this. Oh, it slips off his hand again. And he gets 3. And he also was not on a spare, so he doesn't lose any count. But I can pretty much promise you, we've never seen this on Prodigy Bowlers Tour before. Both lanes with a 3 count. Well, let's see if one of them can step up and make the spare. How about it? Again? Yes! Well, that's as good as 9 spare if you weren't on a spare, so that keeps both teams' hopes alive. Oh, man. Jacob really cranked that one hard at the bottom of the swing, and it overhooked. And now he's got the 1-3-9. You got to be careful with this one. If you hit high in the pocket, you'll leave the 9. You kind of have to favor the 3. But he hits right on the nose and leaves the 3, so there's an open. And that extends the lead of Nicole and Luke to 21. Leanne up in the 10th, doing her best to keep them in it. Gets a 9 count. And Nicole just will not let up. And she has made the Thompsons' path to victory very narrow, and almost impossible now. It would take a miracle. Leanne gets the spare. Possible 235 with her 80 pins handicap. But even that, I'm afraid, may not be enough. Crunch. This gal has really put on a clinic today. This is about to be over. Leanne finishes strong, 234. But with this ball, Nicole is going to end it. Boom. Out go the lights. The party's over. Nicole and Luke have won the KCO December Youth Adult. Watch this. The shutout ball is always worth a second look. And she just stuffed the pocket. Wow. Luke bowled pretty well today, but the best thing he did was pick Nicole as his partner. Crossover almost goes for Jacob. And Luke pulls his spare attempt, so it's an open, but it does not matter. To paraphrase the title of a famous song, they can't take that title away, as Nicole and Luke are the champions. We'll stay with this all the way to the end. We always like to see these kids finish up and finish strong, even if it's in a losing effort. Like to see them go out with a bang. Jacob and his mom live in Raymore, Missouri, which is a southeastern suburb of Kansas City. 2 months in a row on Prodigy, we've had a finalist from Raymore, Fiona West, who won the Division II championship last month, was from Raymore. And look at this, Jacob finishes with a strike. And, well, we'll take another look at it. It was a good shot. He's going to come up just a little bit high. Gave it a little extra juice at the release. And trips the 4, and that's the way you like to finish, with a strike. But it's a 413 to 382 victory for Nicole Orlando and Luke Gramling. You'll meet them, and we'll get them to sign the coveted trophy pin when we return. That was a pretty exciting final match that could have gone either way. Jacob and his mom Leanne both battled throughout, and just as Luke and Nicole were about to overtake them, the Thompsons rebounded and grabbed the lead back again. But in the end, scrappy little Luke Gramling made some key marks when they needed them, and his aunt Nicole just went off with 9 strikes en route to a 269 handicap, 258 scratch game. I'd say Luke picked the right partner to bowl with today. So now they get to do the honors of signing the coveted trophy pin. Look, it's our winners in Division 4 on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. I've seen you in league at Olathe Lanes East, because that's where I coach and that's where you bowl.
Yep.
Tell the audience a little bit about you. How long you been bowling?
Since I was 4, so 9 years.
Wow. How old are you?
13, almost 14.
Okay, so we're gonna see you in youth bowling for a while longer. And you,
Yep.
tell us about you.
Been bowling for over 40 years.
I watched you all day today, and all you did was pepper the pocket.
That's what I was always taught. Make good shots.
That's how it's done.
Pick up your spares.
Well, congratulations on winning today. By winning on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you get to sign the coveted trophy pin. And now here's the deal. After you sign it, you're then also eligible to come back. Well, he is, you're not.
That's fine. I don't care.
To bowl in the end of season Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where the winner wins the pin and all the signatures on it from all the kids that have won on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this year.
Wow.
So put your name on it and put today's date. That's right, you got to take off your glove for this. This is
10-4, right?
huh?
10-4.
12-4. Luke Gramling. I've had my eye on you for a while. You kind of made the show last month in Lawrence. You were bowling on the pair adjacent to us. So we got a little peek at you here and there. And now you get to sign it too. Everybody who wins on the show signs the pin.
That's where I actually write cursive.
And I am a huge proponent of thanking parents. I know that she's not your mom or dad. She's your aunt. But did she have anything to do with you getting started bowling?
Probably not.
Not really. It was more your parents.
Yeah, it was just all bowl.
We all bowl together.
Just everybody bowls in the family. Okay. Well, I'm a big believer that anytime in junior bowling when we have kids doing well, there's always a reason for it. It's because the parents are behind them, supporting them, taking them to the bowling alley, paying for their bowling balls and their bowling, and waiting for them while they're bowling league. And so, as soon as this interview is over, first thing I want you to do, you'll find your mom and dad, thank them. Because they're the ones behind all this. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations to you too.
Thank you.
As we mentioned during the telecast today, the bowlers on the adjacent pairs of lanes to our left and right were the Division III and Division V groups, respectively. Here's how the Division III group fared. In the opening match, Emma Reese and her partner Jason Reese eked out a close win, 376 to 374, over Ethan Langford and his adult partner Russ Edwards. Then, the Reeses took on Ann Harms and Alex Harms, prevailing 361 to 306. And in the championship match, the Reese family made it a clean sweep, defeating Skylar Holmes and Robert Heifner 416 to 382. On the pair to our right today in Division 5, Bailey Fuhr and her adult partner Kimberly Fuhr defeated Christopher Partridge and his partner Tom Partridge 361 to 308. That set up a semifinal match that went down to the wire as Bailey and Kimberly Fuhr squeaked past little Ebony Ford and her mom Janae Ford 366 to 357. But in the championship match, the Fuhr's ride to the top came up a little short as the team of Shane Schonifer and Randy Schonifer grabbed top honors 340 to 310. Now you may recall the name Schonifer as Joshua Schonifer appeared on our Division 5 show back in September. And Randy Schonifer, Shane's doubles partner, is the uncle who owns the bowling center down in Chanute, Kansas, where the family bowls. So it was good to see the Schonifer family back in action. On our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you'll see the Division I championship round at the 2022 KCO December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament. Can Colby Lovegren keep his streak alive of making every one of our Division I shows since Prodigy moved to Kansas City? You'll find out. And we'll also recap how Division II fared. The next Kansas City Open will be held January 8th when we return to Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas. If you're interested in entering, or you just want more information about the Kansas City Open, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. Thanks again to the good people at Olathe Lanes East, who always make us feel welcome. Thanks to Lee Miller, the chairman of the Kansas City Open, and a special thanks to Adam Crouch, my good friend who drives in from Topeka each month to help out setting things up so we can bring you these shows. Remember to leave a thumbs up and smash that subscribe button. We're getting close to crossing the 20,000 subscriber threshold, and who knows, maybe you'll be our 20,000th subscriber. So until next time, this is Coach Randy wishing you happy holidays and reminding you to stay safe. We'll see you on our next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.